Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Chelmsford Tonight. We're launching a new show on Chelmsford TV, and it is going to highlight the people and the places in Chelmsford and the surrounding areas that show off what a thriving community we have and what makes Chelmsford a great place to live and to work. I'm Karen Woodrow, owner of Visiting Angels Senior Home Care right here in Chelmsford, and I'll be your host. I know I just said that Chelmsford Tonight is a new show, but it's really born of an old show called Town Talk. With me tonight is Joe Reddy, son of Dennis Reddy, who was the original host of Town Talk. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Thank you, Karen. I really appreciate you coming on, and thank you so much for, taking the torch and running with it. And what a great name for a show. So I wish you the best success moving forward, and I know you'll do a great job.
Oh, thank you. So let's take a look at the opening of the very first episode of Town Talk. Pete, can you roll the clip?
Good evening and welcome to Town Talk. Town Talk is a new program that Chelmsford TeleMedia is putting on, and our subject tonight is the 4th of July celebration in Chelmsford. And my guests tonight are Walter Hedlund from the Town Celebrations Committee and Mike McCarron from the Chelmsford Elks. Good evening.
Good evening, Ben.
Good evening, Dennis.
How you doing?
So, Joe, that was your dad, Dennis Reddy, and he hosted the show for 15 years. Now, not only did he host the show, but he created the show. What do you think he wanted to accomplish by putting out a show like this?
Dennis Reddy was a legend, and one of the things that he always aspired to be was somebody that created transparency for the community, gave a voice to everyone, tried to create an equal and balanced platform for people to be able to voice their message, whatever it was. And I give him a lot of credit. Over the years, we had so many people throughout the town come on and talk about various different topics, whether or not they were popular. They might have been controversial. He was so good at reaching out to people. Just a natural, delegator, somebody that could go out and really just, drum up volunteers and try to get people activated in the community. And I think he really saw Town Talk as, that platform to really, kind of like put a limelight on a lot of people that didn't necessarily get the opportunity. And, when he structured that show, it was really about looking at three facets of Chelmsford. One was local politics, because that's something that most people are very interested in, businesses that were participating in the town, and also nonprofits that were really, doing great things for the community that didn't always get the chance to really get their messaging through. And so, with those things kind of blended together, it really made a show that I think was dynamic. It gave people an opportunity to really learn about, things that were going on. And technology's obviously advanced since we've started. And when he first started Town Talk, people would be flipping through cable stations. You would come to a commercial, you'd be watching, say, the Red Sox game or something would be happening, and you'd say, oh, here's a commercial, I'm just going to flip through and see what else is on. And you would land on Channel 8, there would be Dennis interviewing someone. A good example is Walter Hedlund, who was such a great man. I'll tell you a quick story about Walter Hedlund. I just saw that clip. So Walter Hedlund actually headed up the Emergency Services Committee in Chelmsford. And so when my father was selectman, they had a major snowstorm that took down all the power lines. And there was a woman that was on an iron lung, and she called my father and said, listen, I really need help. We've lost electricity. We're on an iron lung. He said, give me 1 minute. I'm going to call Walter Hedlund. She said, you are an insensitive man. And she hung up the phone. And he took him a minute, and then he realized Walter Hedlund was an undertaker. And so she thought that he had said that because obviously she might die. But it was really more because he was trying to get emergency services to get over there and put power to the house. So that's a funny Dennis Reddy story where he constantly was trying to put people together, great connections, and he was just a natural when he was running the show. I mean, he just had a charisma to him that I think made guests feel comfortable. And it's a very stressful thing to come on a talk show like this if you're a guest and you're not, a regular, we'll call it. And he did a good job of trying to prep people in advance and try to get topics that were not necessarily, forthcoming. And a couple of examples. One time he had somebody that had built a baseball stadium out of like a replica materials. He brought them onto the show. But the difficulty with that is they didn't have a whole lot of topic material to talk about, right? So, as a host, he was really always good about trying to bring out the best in everybody, try to get as much, topical conversation as he could. It was just a wonderful man.
Oh, that's great. I've heard a lot about him. I know he was very involved with the community, and he was called Mr. Chelmsford, and he really knew everybody and everything. He had his finger on the pulse of the town as a real estate agent and as a selectman. So I certainly do not have that much influence in Chelmsford or in the area. So, Joe, I'm going to be counting on you and our viewers to bring us some ideas for segments of who we should cover, what places we should cover for the show.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to say that you are exactly what Dennis Reddy would want for this show, just so you know. He was always about bringing on people that just had a charisma and just a knack for wanting to volunteer. You didn't have to be some huge name. It was really just more about your spirit and what you had to give. So, and truthfully, he called him Mr. Chelmsford. The man earned it, on every level. I mean, he gave himself selflessly to so many committees, so many different volunteer organizations, and that title, it doesn't come overnight. And so, I'm glad that he did the show for so many years, because I think it gave Chelmsford really a kind of a uniqueness that a lot of communities don't have. So
I totally agree. And I know Dennis was in front of the camera for as long as possible, but after that, he turned the proverbial baton, in this case, a microphone, over to you, his son, to carry on with the show. We got a picture of you from one of your episodes hosting Town Talk. I think you look exactly the same. Not many years have passed.
Oh, thank goodness. A little bit grayer. That's okay.
That's okay. It's a little wisdom comes with that. So, did you enjoy hosting the show?
I did enjoy it. Truthfully, I did it more for Dennis. And, anybody that's ever dealt with, a friend or a loved one that is going through declining health, you can appreciate that, you really want to try to give them optimism and spirit and a way to kind of move forward. And, the show in the end really became something that he really loved to do. And his mind was always there. He was a very sharp individual, but he was beginning to lose his eyesight. And he started to realize, probably around that 2012 time period, that he was having a lot of difficulty running the show. And one of the reasons for that is he couldn't see the clock, which governs the timing of how long you've had guests on.
Right.
And that's a huge critical component. We were just talking about it off air, how you pace people, how you bring them on. And I think he started to become very cognizant of that. So he used to have his co-hosts, Mary Gregoire, shout out to her, she's a phenomenal person, JC Dawn, Lisa Pantuso, just so many of them that gave their time, Sarah Iliopoulos, they'd kick him under the table and say, like, Dennis, we got to get to the next guest, right?
All right, Joe, I'm going to have to kick you under the table because I think we're going to have to move on. I do want to have a shout out to John Egan, who's working with me on Camera One. He worked with you on Town Talk, and I just wanted you to make sure you said hi to John.
John Egan was a phenomenal man, and just another volunteer that's given his time over the years. Deserves all the credit. Vilu, Pedulla, all the people at Chelmsford TeleMedia. Just my heart goes out to them. Thank you, everybody, for everything that you do.
Okay, so all of us here at Chelmsford Tonight are proud to carry on the tradition of Town Talk, and we really hope that we can do right by the Reddy legacy.
Absolutely.
And while I am not a member of your family, I have to say, with our inaugural show, I hope I'm ready. We'll be right back with more of Chelmsford Tonight after these breaks.
Thank you.
Every year, it seems like time flies, and the holidays just magically appear. And that means that it's time for Chelmsford's annual Holiday Prelude. So grab the kids and come see Santa Claus and his elves, go for a hayride, and tell your secrets to Piney, the talking tree. You can even sample some hot chowder and, of course, the annual tree lighting. It's all happening Sunday, December 5th from 4 to 6 p.m. in Chelmsford Center. I'll be there, and I hope you will too.
For our next segment, I brought in a picture of my dad, Sumner Woodrow. He was an officer in the U.S. Air Force during World War II. He was on a bombing mission over Berlin when his plane was shot down. He spent the rest of the war as a POW until he was returned home to his family. This is my family's personal Veterans Memorial that we have in our home. I'm here with Regina Jackson and Barbara Kampas to talk about the public Veterans Memorials that we have all around Chelmsford. Welcome to the show, Regina and Barbara.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
So before we get into the details of the monuments that we see, let's take a little tour around Chelmsford and see the memorials that all of us pass by in our daily drives around town. Pete, you want to roll that clip? So Regina, you are the Veterans Agent for the town of Chelmsford, and Barbara, you are a documentarian and a researcher. So you guys decided that it was a great idea to preserve all the information behind all of those monuments that we just saw. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how the project got started, how you guys met up on this, and what are the details behind the research that you did?
Well, the project, as you said, Chelmsford has a lot of wonderful veterans monuments and tributes in town. And in the last probably 25 years, we have also added the addition of some family honor signs, veteran signs, World War II families. And the project came about because the whole idea of when you go by these signs and you go by these monuments, there's a story behind every one of them. And whereas I might know the story and the families might know the story, the folks in Chelmsford may not know. So the whole idea that the information needed to be gathered and documented and put in some type of order that would be accessible and interesting to find. So along came Barabara, fortunately, and Barabara is in Chelmsford, so it was a win-win, and I was extremely lucky to work with her, and she took all these boxes of information for each sign, each monument, and made sense of it, and made it easily accessible now. It's on the town's website.
Great. I think we have a clip of the town's website, and we can show how to go on there. If you go on to chelmsfordma.gov, and you can go into the search bar and put in Veterans Memorial Signs /monuments, and you'll come up with the posting about all these great monuments and signs we have around town. What kind of information will we find when we go on that post? If say I wanted to go find information about the Chelmsford Memorial to all veterans, that's on the Common facing North Road. What kind of information will I see there?
Well, basically what we tried to end up doing with all the different monuments and signs that we worked with was to be able to give background information about the sign or the monument itself, along with some background information about the individuals that were connected to that particular monument or sign. And then I spent a lot of time working with microfilm and trying to be able to find corresponding newspaper articles that would be able to explain more information about the individuals or the families, along with whatever ceremony per se might have been involved with putting up these different monuments, but more importantly to be able to actually talk about the military background that these individuals had. And so that's what I ended up doing, and then putting it together in terms of research notes. I have experience working with original manuscripts in a previous life, and so I would gather all this information, and then we would end up meeting on a regular basis and decide what needed to stay there, what should come on out, and how we would be able to coordinate it, as well as trying to be able to make the information as much as possible, for want of a better term, equal for all the different signs and monuments, so that everybody would feel that we had given them their due.
That's really beautiful. So we go up to these monuments, and there's just a piece of beautiful stone, and it has names on them, and you guys have really attached a meaning to all that, the stories and the people behind it. How many memorials and signs are there?
Well, the ones that we've researched, there are 5 family signs throughout Chelmsford, and then there with a total of 14 with signs, combination memorials, and a bridge dedication that we documented.
Yeah, so the family signs are a little bit different, and they have the family name on them. Pete, do we have a clip of what the family signs look like? So you can see these are scattered around Chelmsford, and they each have a family name on them. And if you go up close, it talks about the Zare family, who had 7 family members that were active members of our military. The Kinney family had 5 family members. Jamrose family had 5 brothers. The Fantozzi had 5 brothers, and the Descharmes had 4 brothers. There's a lot of people in Chelmsford that really dedicated their lives to protecting our country. It's really heartwarming. How many veterans are there currently?
Well, the estimate is about 3,000 veterans in Chelmsford.
Wow.
So, and you don't know, I mean, they're throughout the community. And one thing I do want to say about these signs is if you click on the signs, Barbara has really done a great job about bringing up the pictures, so there'd be pictures similar to your dad's, because the signs are pretty much mostly the World War II families. So, and the pictures are in the documents.
Wow, what a tribute. Thank you so much. Of course, we want to thank all our area veterans for their service, and we want to thank you, Regina and Barbara, for sharing the stories of the monuments around town and for bringing those to life. You can read more about them on the Town of Chelmsford website. We'll be back with some pre-holiday fun after this break.
Every year, it seems like time flies, and the holidays just magically appear. And that means that it's time for Chelmsford's annual Holiday Prelude. So grab the kids and come see Santa Claus and his elves, go for a hayride, and tell your secrets to Piney, the talking tree. You can even sample some hot chowder, and of course, the annual tree lighting. It's all happening Sunday, December 5th, from 4 to 6 p.m. in Chelmsford Center. I'll be there, and I hope you will too.
Welcome back. Joining me now is Colleen Stansfield. She is on the Chelmsford Holiday Committee, and she is here to give us a prelude to the Holiday Prelude. Welcome, Colleen.
Thank you very much for having me on here. This is what do you call it? The initial
The inaugural show.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, so every year the town of Chelmsford starts off the winter season with a holiday prelude. We celebrate on the Chelmsford Town Common, and I think you're here to give us some details. So first of all, how long has this tradition been going on?
Longer than I know. I tried to find out today, actually, and I just didn't have the information. But before us, it was Kenny Kidd and his family and his group that did it. And before then, it was John Harrington. So it goes back quite a way.
And how long have you been doing it?
10 years.
10 years.
So 10 years here.
So even if you just started it, it's still been going on for a long
time.
time. It's a great tradition. So how is this event funded?
We do our own fundraising. It's no cost to the town. We usually go out and get sponsors. The 3 hay rides that people see are sponsored by different companies in town, whatnot. We have, the Chelmsford CBA and the Rotary, things like that. They sponsor the wagons. They're kind of expensive.
So we have them to thank and you to thank for this great tradition. So tell us about the upcoming Holiday Prelude. I know that we had to pause last year, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, so it's going to be extra special this year. So first of all, when is it? Everybody get out your calendars. We're going to write this down so we don't miss it.
It is. It's always the same every year, so it's easy to remember. It's the first Sunday of December.
Okay.
And it's from 4 to 6. The tree lights right at 5.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
All right. So right in the middle of the event,
Yeah.
and it's on the Common as usual.
Yep, we usually have Santa come in on one of the horse-drawn carriages as they come in from, those are usually behind where the Oddfellows building is. There's a big parking lot, and they get set up there, and they bring Santa in.
So Santa's on a truck. Do I get to meet Santa? Is there an opportunity to
Yes.
have a little one-on-one with him?
Yes, we have a beautiful excuse me, Santa's house that was built by Len Oldencheck, who recently passed. It's gorgeous. It goes together. We save it every year, and Santa is, oh, there he is.
There he is.
That's where Santa sits. We decorate that. It goes together. There's little pegs and stuff he put for us, so it's almost like a puzzle every year when we put it together. It's really nice. It's way better than the house we had before.
Okay, it looks pretty. Those 3 little boys look very cozy on Santa's lap.
Oh, it's a huge hit with the kids, absolutely. They each get a candy cane and they can give their letters to Santa.
Oh, wow, that's great. So they get to go on a hayride, and then they get to sit on Santa's lap, and 5 o'clock is the tree lighting.
Right.
I think we have a picture of the tree lighting.
There you go. So that was that was 2 years ago, and it was warm that night. The snow made it so pretty. We were saying it was one of the best nights we've had. And then the following year, nothing, which was sad. But,
So does anyone have a weather forecast for December 5th? Because I think that those snow flurries make it look pretty magical.
it really did. That's what we were saying that night. It was just absolutely, perfect for, snow, 1st of December. It was just, gets everybody in the mood.
All right, let's hope that we're going to have a little snow that night, just to add the special feeling.
It can melt the next day. We don't care.
That's right. That's right. So what else? What else can when I show up at the Common? What can I do?
So we close off the whole Common. So it's closed all the way from 110 to Bellrica Road by the Episcopal Church there, All Saints, and you can just walk around. We have tractor rides that are down by the Fishbone area. We have the DJ that usually comes every year and gets the kids dancing in the same area. Fishbones is there giving out chowder. And let's see, so that's kind of what's there in the center. As you leave the center, we have this wonderful thing that our committee member Sharon Smith does every year, and it's called Piney, the talking tree.
Okay, I have seen Piney, and I have to tell you, I love Piney.
Everybody loves Piney.
Pete, let's roll the clip of Piney talking to Elizabeth Silva. Elizabeth Silva is our high school reporter on Chelmsford TV, and she is just fantastic as she covers the Holiday Prelude. And let's take a look at Elizabeth talking to Piney.
1 and 2 and Rudolph
The red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose,
and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. I know Santa. I can put in a good word with you with Santa. Santa comes by every now and then, and I talk.
So it's an ingenious setup, just the way they do it. We have, the tree is donated every year by the co-op church down the street, and Sharon sets it up, and there's a microphone and whatnot, and they talk back and forth, and it's really cute. The kids
All right,
love it.
share a secret with me. Who's the voice?
We don't know.
Oh.
We've had different voices
Okay.
over the years, so
Okay.
I do know who it's going to be this year. It will be Paul Erickson.
Okay. Well, Paul, I love Piney. I think the world would be a much better place if all the trees could talk like Piney.
That'd be great, absolutely.
So, Colleen, will you be there?
I'm always there.
You're always there.
I'm always there.
Right.
We start around 2 o'clock in the afternoon that day, and just set everything up and wait for all the crowds to come, and I wanted to put a shout out to Brickhouse Pizza that always gives us the pizza. We have pizza runners and free pizzas given out at the corner right in front of the First Parish Church over by the horse rides. And we should have some carolers this year. I have the high school, there's 2 groups that volunteer for community service, and they're going to be helping us out. So we have a lot of kids help this year, which is awesome. I love when the kids get involved.
Oh yeah, so it sounds like it's really a multi-generational event.
Oh, absolutely.
And the whole town comes out for this?
I think so.
right.
I like to think so. Put up the lights for everybody.
All right, thanks for sharing those details with us, Colleen. Thanks. I look forward to seeing you and everyone else on the Common on December 5th from 4 to 6.
We'll be there.
After enjoying the festivities, come home and tune into Chelmsford TV. At 7 o'clock, we'll be airing our next episode of Chelmsford Tonight. Thank you for joining us on our inaugural show. I want to thank my camera crew, John Egan on camera 1, Bob Pariseau on camera 2, Karen Karpawich on camera 3, and of course we have Pete Pedulla up in the control room directing the whole show. I'm Karen Woodrow. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your evening with me, and we'll see you in 2 weeks on Chelmsford Tonight.